It's a new day. Behind me is the mountain of where King Herod built one of his temples. I say temples, his palace. So we're about to ride up one of the trolleys to go see the old ruins of King Herod's mansion. The spot, the dojo. Back in the day, there's a pathway, and that was the only pathway up to the house or the palace, and you could only get there by foot. So when King Herod would get into trouble, which he was in a lot of trouble, he would go up to the top of the mountain, and he had 3 layers of where he had different housing. That's where he would chill out and run away from all of his problems. Dang. Whoa. Then over here to our right, we have the Dead Sea, which we will get to here in a sec.
Okay, everybody, this journey to the top, how many stations like in
So here we are on a little trolley about to go up the mountain, aka where King Herod's palace was. So we're about to go check it out. Those of you who've been skiing, these are called gondolas, but gondolas can only hold 6. Colorado, y'all need a couple of these bad boys. Fit about 50 in here. Going up. So here we are, a new day. Super blessed, super thankful to wake up. We are headed to the top of, what is this hill called? Masada. We are headed to Masada today, which is right here behind me. This is where King Herod built his palace. Below us, that was the only entrance in and out of Masada. Yeah, and back in the day, I can't even imagine building a huge palace with huge bricks and stones. Having to make a mansion out here. I wouldn't be the one to do it. Couldn't do it. Over here to our right is the Dead Sea.
What is the distance? What's the incline?
So one more time, like I said, here we are at Mount Masada, going up the mountain above the old path where workers and slaves would carry bricks and stone to come build this mansion for King Herod. This was his second palace, where he would come and hang out and get rid of his problems, and he could overlook the whole everything, I don't even know what to call it, all of the land, the Judean desert. So we made it up to the top. It's a little sunny out, but man, talk about a penthouse. Views. We are at the top of the hill. This is where King Herod would overlook all the desert. The Dead Sea, Jordan, Jerusalem, and Israel. hope you're not scared of heights. So here we are on top of Mount Masada, where King Herod built his palace. So where I'm standing right now overlooks all of the Dead Sea, all of the Jordan. Over here would be Israel and Jerusalem and Jericho. And it's just so crazy because as we've been driving on the bus and whatnot, it's completely desert out here, but yet it's one of the most fertile places ever. This is just crazy. This would be the best penthouse in the world. So those of you out there that own a penthouse, it ain't nothing compared to this. Views. Whew. Winded. We are now on the back side of the palace of Herod, and once Herod died, this whole place became a ghost land. And years later, after Herod's death, the zealots came and overtook this whole little area, and the Romans found out that the zealots were here and came up because they could not attack the front without being destroyed. And it took them 3 years to build this mountain so that they could bring their horses and chariots and bring a big thing to smash through the walls. But just imagine people throwing rocks and stones while the Romans were trying to build this hill. So here I am leaning out, looking over the edge. And this mountain right here was the mound that took the Romans 3 years to build. After the death of King Herod, this became a ghost land. And years after Herod disappeared and faded away, the zealots came and took over this whole area. And the Romans found out that it was being taken over by the zealots, and they tried to come and take over. But what they did not know is that Herod had built a aqueduct system that would allow 7 years worth of water, food, and he built an armory that would allow protection for this whole city penthouse that he built. So when the Romans came, the first thing that they did was they destroyed all the aqueducts. And for years and years, it took them 3 years to build that mound so that they could bring chariots and horses and I call them door bangers to bust through the wall. But again, they did not know that King Herod had built 2 walls. So over years and years and years of time, they would put mud, stones, and make this double wall, one huge fortress that was almost unbreakable. Like I said, we're on the back side, and you can see Israel, you can see all of Jordan. King Herod had a good spot to come run to when bad times came upon him. So continuing our journey, this is one of the biggest finds in the past 2,000 years. This is where parchments were found and the Book of Ezekiel was found. There was a bunch of bone fragments, and everything above this black line was all covered under dust and dirt. But they have uncovered these temple columns that held up the temple. Like I said, they found the Book of Ezekiel handwritten in this area, which is Amazing. Let's continue. So below me right here is a cistern. And wow, there's a pit. Okay, what's in the cistern? Water. That's their water. This right here is where King Herod built the secret water. I say secret. The secret water holder, the cistern. This is where the 7 years worth of water would have been held. There was multiple, I might be wrong on that, but I believe there was multiple cisterns that held the different pools of water that would last this penthouse 7 years worth of water. The Sea of Galilee. That's a big deep hole, one might say. So when the Romans knocked down the aqueducts, boom, they had a pit full of water ready to go. I could use me a bottle of water right now. It's been like 50 degrees, 60 degrees everywhere here, 40 degrees. But today, this sun is kicking my donkey. If you know what I'm saying. I'm parched. It's called the hidden food trick. Looks like I didn't get them with my fake bowl of food.
No.
So we have made it to the top of Mount Masada. That's where we came from. You got the Jordan, you have the Dead Sea. Israel and Jerusalem is over here.
And Jordan is there.
And like I said, Jordan is way on the other side. So right now we are in the north part of the palace. And we're just hanging over the edge. So remember, Jerusalem and Israel is right here behind us. But all of this would be underwater. Now we walk into their rooms, aka the frescos, and what you can see is this is how they lived. This is a room that an everyday person would have lived in here that was working for Herod. It'd stay right there for 24/7 until they were asked to work. And the thing about this room right here, like I said, this is the frescos. This is where a daily worker would have lived for 24/7. And the cool thing about that spot is that it's exactly the same build as where King Herod would have stayed in his palace. So, looking at that, is King Herod, though he did kill Jesus, he did not kill Jesus, he gave the option for the people to put Jesus to death. He treated people here with equality. So this is something. Whoa, what an adventure. We're going down. What a trip. place that all the Dead Sea Scrolls were found, and every single one of the books of the Bible was found here behind you in the caves. They started doing a bunch of excavations and they found this pool right here. And this is actually the same exact plaster. This is the same plaster that was used 2,000 years ago. They have not changed it. They have not added anything to it. So this is a pool of where the water will rush down here at least once or twice a year. The floods in this area completely cover everything. And there are multiple diggings of these pools where fresh water would be collected and held for people to use. So this is pretty cool. Man, I want to go cave diving now. Adventure is out there. There are pools everywhere here. Some pools and some aqueducts that would hold the water, but then also some of these holes around here were for purification. So at the end of the day, even if you jump into a bath of purification water, if your heart isn't in the right spot and your mind is not in the right spot and your soul is not purified, the water is not going to do anything for you. But if your mind is right and your soul is right and your spirit is correct, the purification bath represents cleanliness. So this is really awesome because none of these pools and baths and aqueducts have been changed at all. The plaster, everything here. I mean, it's just awesome. It's a whole maze worth of waterways on how things were fed. So, and it would feed into each bath and each well. These floods, it would just, they made little paths for the water to kind of go down through into your purification baths and to your aqueducts, or that is your aqueduct. So they have uncovered so right here is your aqueducts, and your floods would come in and flow down here, and it would go into your different pools and your different baths. And right here is one of those purification baths, and this is the original, I would say stucco, but this is the original plaster that they have literally uncovered. And these would be purification baths. They would be places where they would do rituals and clean themselves of sins and disease. From the mountaintops all the way down to these different aqueducts and then flow through the city and go into different baths and different holes so they can store water out here in the desert. Behind me is a bunch of rocks. rocks with little bitty aqueducts that went into the little rocks. And those were called date pits. This is where they would use date palms and turn it into honey. So in the Bible, it talks about the promised land had a bunch of milk and a bunch of honey. This did not come from bees, ladies and gentlemen. This came from date palms and goats and cattle, and that's how, I don't know about cattle. I don't want to say that, I might be wrong. But ladies and gentlemen, the honey did not come from bees. They came from date palms, and the milk came from the goats and the animals that produced milk. And Christ said that the promised land would be rich with everything. So it's so crazy to look out here and see the desert. We're in the middle of the desert, but yet everything out here is so rich, just so rich. And I'm looking out here, and there's hundreds of caves, and in these caves is where they found all the Dead Sea Scrolls. And if you don't know what the Dead Sea Scrolls are, well, behind me is the Dead Sea, and the scrolls of the Bible were found right here behind us. So this is just an experience of a lifetime, and if you have the blessing to be able to come out here and experience this, it's just breathtaking. There it is. That is where this cave behind us is, exactly where the first book was found. A young boy was just chunking some rocks, just like we all have as children, and he broke a pot and heard it crack, and it ended up being the Book of Ezekiel. And they smuggled it into the US, into New York, and put an ad out in the paper and said there was a scroll for sale. They didn't even know what book it was, and nobody in the US wanted to have anything to do with a Hebrew or an old scroll. And once they found out what it truly was, it's priceless. It's priceless. So this is a really cool story. A bunch of history out here. Just getting to walk and be a part of, just to get to walk on the land where all these stories in the Bible were. It's almost just surreal. It's surreal to walk on the lands and see, and finally see the stories. I'm a terrible reader. I have comprehension disorder. I have ADD. I have ADHD. I have everything that you can get diagnosed with. And so for me to be able to walk here and see it with my own eyes and put something into a picture has just been amazing. We're going to be walking over some more aqueducts. They have found hundreds of these ritual bath pools where people would go sit in these pools and clean themselves. They found workshops and date shops, not date shops or honey shops, but little date farms, which is, man, these people were smart. They were geniuses. Thomas.
That's where they put the fire in right there.
Oh, that's cool.
They put the fire in right there.
The old-fashioned hot tub.
It's a big green egg, basically. It's a Kamado tank.
So 2,000 years ago, you might call this The first hot tub. They would put wood and fire right there, and the water would kind of go down and boil up. Jump in the hot tub and chillax. As Manuel would say, it's time to chill, man. Chillax, man. That's what we do, man. We chill. Let's go. Welcome to the lowest place on earth. Just got done with some lunch at the best place at the lowest place on earth. But it could also be the worst place at the lowest place on earth, because this is the lowest place on earth. So that means it's the best, it's the worst, it's the everything. Which way is the beach?
That way. Some of them are, some aren't. There you go.
We're at the beach, aka the Dead Sea. We gotta go down a couple more 100 feet just so we can get into the lowest part of the world. A wallet? Yeah. I'm with my sister. I'm with my brother. Woo! So here we are at the lowest spot in the world. This is the Dead Sea, and as you guys can see, this is all salt. Salt. Anything and everything can float in this sea of water. So I'm really not a person who likes jumping in cold water, but I've been forced by the family to jump in and float. So here goes nothing. We are at the lowest point in the world. We are at the Dead Sea, where anything can float. Boom, just like that. Float tank in it. Whoa! I mean, this is crazy. You put your hand in the ground. Lucas, here, float. Oh, okay. Oh! And look, salt. Chunks of salt everywhere. Oh, oh, and there's mud everywhere, and I just got in my face, and I'm done. Game over. It's all in my mouth. It's the most bitter thing I've ever tasted in my life. I don't want to open up my eye because it'll burn my eyeball off. Gotta go hit the fresh water real quick.
Yeah, he starts itching.
Heck yeah.
Get it in your eyes too?
Well, I got it on half of my face, and I don't want it to be in my eye.
Oh, you didn't get it in your eyes?
Nope.
The rest of them
Not
did.
yet.
I thought I was the one that avoided it.
I didn't get it. I covered myself.
Missing out.
My Lanta. That right there is no joke. Okay, round two. I got some of it in my eyeball. Almost fried crispy in my eyes. There's Luke. Floating. A camel can float in here. It's so dense, so buoyant. This is crazy. We are negative 430 meters under sea level. So we are covered in mud. This is all mud. My screen is just getting literally fogged up by, I was gonna say ice, by salt. And I hope it doesn't ruin this. So GoPro, if y'all make it through this, you'll have made it through the ultimate test. Floating. This is crazy. The ultimate float tank. Whoa. The ultimate float tank. And you literally you sit down and you pick up chunks of this. That, ladies and gents, is a salt brick. Wow. Salt that could last you a whole year. Like I said, my camera keeps getting fogged up by all this salt. You get in the water and you can just pull out chunks of salt. The good white stuff. That pure, if you know what I'm saying. Wow, what an opportunity today has been. This is wild. Wow. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I literally have salt formations. Oh my gosh. I have salt formations all over my skin. That is how much salt is in this Dead Sea. Oh my gosh. I got salt just stuck in my hairs. This is insane. Dude, look at this. Okay, we're done with that. My skin's pretty much dried out. Wow. I got about 4 years worth of salt that we can use when we get back to the States. Whew. That, ladies and gents, is fresh sea salt from the Dead Sea. Wow, what an experience. My whole body is completely dried out. I gotta go find me some lotion because I'm an addict. Victoria's Secret, where are you at? Whoa. My whole body feels like it's been sucked dry. So,
Are we there yet?
time to
I mean, look at your hands.
fill back up with the crunch bar. It's the way to end the day off right here. XL, just spit everywhere. XL crunch.
Did you go? No, I hadn't. I wanted to. Don't drink water.
Speaking of,
Got him.